Big night tonight. Former President Bill Clinton is going to be right here on stage behind me addressing a party that is much different from the party that he led, the Democratic Party. You know, it isn't what it used to be. You got a socialist, Bernie Sanders. You got Elizabeth Warren out there who have been pushing the party further and further to the left. So how's Bill Clinton, who passed the controversial NAFTA trade agreement that is hated by the far left and by Bernie Sanders supporters, how is he going to convince the party that they need to unite right now behind his wife? Joining us with a preview is Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall and former advisor to President George W. Bush, Brad Blakeman. Good to see both of you guys.
Good to
Leslie,
see you.
What's the inside scoop? What is he going to do that's going to really strike a different tone here in this auditorium tonight?
Well, we forget that Bill Clinton technically is in the spot of a first lady introducing her husband typically. This is historic.
Yeah.
And he is going to speak about personal things because hopefully that will help with the likability a bit. She needs some help there. But in addition, he needs to make it clear that his administration will not be her administration. He needs to point out the differences. He shouldn't mention NAFTA unless he's going to mention that, you know, I should have listened to her, perhaps. So, you know, she wasn't on board for this. And then I think he needs to also do what he does so well. He did when President Obama was up for re-election. I think he put forth a better future for the Democrats and for President Obama than President Obama did. I think he can do that for Hillary, and I think in that he can be great at uniting. Bill Clinton has pulled out miracles before, and he's writing this.
Well, listen, he's writing it himself?
He's writing it himself.
You know, he's an incredibly gifted speech maker, Brad. You know, I can remember 4 years ago at the Democratic Convention, I was covering it, and I had the excerpts from his speech ahead of time. I was trying to follow along, and then all of a sudden, he's over here. He's over here. He's just ad-libbing his way through it, much like we've seen Donald Trump do. It's a gift to be able to relate to an audience while not following a script, and he does that. Will it help bring, however, over some of these people who feel like they've just been left out of the party because of the Bernie Sanders scandal?
It's going to be very hard to do because, you know, Bernie took a swipe at the former president last night from the podium when he talked about Glass-Steagall and making sure that Glass-Steagall is reenacted, something that Bill Clinton took down, and
yes,
some blame
by the way,
that.
and just so our viewers are fully aware, Glass-Steagall was basically an act that governed the banks after the Depression, where they said, you know what, your commercial banking, you know, your checking accounts, that kind of thing, saving accounts, and your investment banking need to be separate. You can't have, say, a Citigroup doing both investment banking and you know, trading, and also be holding all of these checking accounts. And so Bill Clinton came along and he said, no, you'll be able to do it all. Of course you'll be able to do it all. He got rid of Glass-Steagall, which the banking industry wanted. And then, sure enough, years later, we wound up in the situation we were in, where banks took on way too much risk that they shouldn't have taken on. So, Leslie, I mean, there are these things, as you pointed out, NAFTA. Brad points out Glass-Steagall. I mean, things that are effectively haunting her with her husband's administration. How does she differentiate?
Well, I think that's his job in a sense to lay out, and I think that she will as well. You know, we just chatted a little bit off the air about some areas they didn't touch upon last night, like foreign policy, and I think that's an area where, you know, Bill Clinton could talk about her strengths as a former president, talk about her personally as a spouse, and talk about somebody who can get the job done because he's done it, and maybe somebody who can do it better because he has now been a president. He's looked past the president, say, and seen another president in those shoes, a Democrat in the White House, and really looking at what his wife needs to do. But uniting is key. Seriously, you're still going to have some people out there with the Bernie signs, although at the end of the night I did see Bernie, I'm with her, in the other hand.
Wow. Do you think they can do it, Brad? I got 30 seconds.
I think it's a big lift. There are going to be two Clinton crowds, the people who knew him in the 90s who are going to take a walk down memory lane, and those younger voters who don't even know who Bill Clinton is, but maybe will like him better than Hillary.
All right. Yeah, no, that's the challenge. He doesn't want to upstage her, right? Hey. Thanks so much, Leslie and Brad. Good to see you guys. We're going to be right back with more Intel after this, live from Philly.